If you want to get faster around the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix circuit, you need to watch this top 1% hot lap. Let's go on board with Zingy to see how it's done. Braking out at just before 100 meters, slowly release off the brakes as you turn in, down to third gear, fully off the brakes by the apex, then momentarily back on the throttle to push yourself towards turn 2. A dab on the brakes, either hold third gear or shift down to second, get your right tyres up on the inside curve for maximum rotation, then after the apex, power out in third gear while straightening the wheel to gain traction as you let the car use all of the track on exit. Hold the car tight to the inside, minimizing track distance, double check below to make sure you subscribe to the channel, and as you come from the left of the circuit towards the right, make sure you point the car outwards, ensuring that you avoid the curvature of the wall that sticks out. Braking at 55 to 60 meters or just before the blackboard, 4/4 fifth gear, then turn in with full commitment to get as close as you can to the inside wall, maybe even aiming to the center of the curb to allow for any errors just in case you turn in too early. Thanks to Brendan Lee for this tip. On the power, now the car naturally drifts towards the curb at turn 5, position your wheels on top of the inside curb to maximize rotation, but no further to avoid instability, but keep the car as tight as possible throughout the corner while shifting up to 6. Once you spot turn 6, straighten up the wheel and aim for the apex, keeping as close as you can to the inside wall, full throttle, which forces us to come away from the wall and eventually back in to reach the second apex of turn 7. If done right, you should be nicely positioned for turn 8, attempting to maintain 100% throttle as you mount the center of the inside curve, and then aim to get as close as you can to the exit curb while still holding full throttle, even placing your left tires on top of the curb, but be aware if you go any further over this exit curb, you will bottom out and go wide. Just after you get off the curb, brake extremely lightly and then back on full power again before you reach the apex, getting as close as you can to the wall, and then riding the top of the turn 10 curb and over turn 11. A moment to gather your thoughts as you approach the corner of turn 13, braking immediately after passing the 50-meter board, slowly releasing off the brakes and sending it into the corner in 4th gear, hugging the inside wall, and then back on the throttle just before the midpoint of the corner, using the banking of the turn to your advantage as it allows you to gain traction at a rapid rate. Start to open up the steering just before full throttle and aim to the outside wall to use all the track available. Keep the car tight to the walls to minimize track distance, which is a common theme at this circuit. Then into turn 16, braking just before the 50-meter board, down to 5th or 6th gear depending on preference, back on the power slightly before the apex and get as close to the inside wall as possible to set up turn 17. Use this early apex to get onto the curb and use it for rotation. Foot to the floor, then keep the steering as smooth as possible to make sure you don't unsettle the car. Get close to the wall and then immediately position the car in a way to minimize track distance yet again as you travel down the very long back straight, DRS open, and into sector 3 we go. This circuit requires different levels of brake bias for different parts of the circuit in order to maximize lap time. Put simply, the harder the braking zone, the higher the brake bias. The hard braking zones such as turns 1, 2, 4 and the final corner will require around 54% brake bias, whereas the middle sector allows you to go down to anywhere between 50 and 52% brake bias. If you would rather focus on your own lap rather than changing the brake bias, we recommend 53 or 54% brake bias throughout. Follow the contour of the track on entry, straighten up the wheel as you brake just before the 50-meter board, 6th gear, immediately start turning into the corner whilst releasing the brake as you reach the apex, quickly on the throttle, which should be easy as you maintain your speed, and like turn 17, use the natural understeer to take an early apex, riding on top of the inside curb for rotation, and even going over the curb with the right hand side of the car, but do not position the center of the car on top of this curb, otherwise you will risk spinning out. Now we want to minimize track distance as we get as close as we can to the wall, flat all the way towards the final corner with a dose of DRS to help us out with reaching our top speed. And for the final time, braking hard in a straight line at 100 meters or just after if you dare, shifting down the gears to third as you make use of the engine braking, turn into the corner while simultaneously releasing off the brakes, then as you reach your late apex, get back on the throttle, open up the steering towards the wall, getting as close as you can without making contact, then make a run for the line with DRS, minimize track distance on the inside, getting as close as you can to the track limits, and across the line to set a 1 minute 26.212, and that's how you get into the top 1% drivers in the world. The setup used for this video is on screen now, and if you want to tailor this to the race situation, all you need to do is decrease the downforce just a little bit to try and make overtaking easier, increase the differential by a click or two to make things more stable, leave the suspension geometry as it is to maximize lap time, soften the suspension just a little bit for consistency, but don't change the ride height so you can secure the best grip. Leave the brake pressure as it is, but increase the brake bias to make sure you are able to cope a lot better in the race. And with the tire pressures, start from minimum and increase a couple clicks with practice to make sure that you find that perfect window for the tire temperatures. Make sure you subscribe for our next hot lap, like the video if you've improved, comment below how much you've improved by. Thank you very much to Zingy for completing this hot lap for us. Good luck and let's race.